people were like genuinely pissed off at halftime. Like I dealt with people that were like actually angry about things at halftime.
How'd that work out for them?
I mean, Jesus. We really don't handle prosperity well in this town. Good evening. Welcome into the Project Game Day postgame show from the Live Casino Hotel Studio. I am Glenn Clark. He is Eric Arditti. Barstool Arditti from BarstoolSports.com. The Ravens are winners. We don't know what the final score will be, but we know that they've won the football game. We know that it is their 10th in a row. We know that they're now 12-2 on the season. We know that they are AFC North champions. We know that they are now one win away from clinching the number 1 seed in the AFC in the postseason. But other than that, it's just unacceptable, frankly. Like,
I mean, the special teams.
Yeah, look.
I said, you want to talk about something? Is Justin Tucker the weak link?
Okay, so this is the weird part. Like this, the funny thing is, it's an ass kicking. I mean, it's an unbelievable. I guess we should turn the volume down. Can you handle that responsibility for me?
Yeah, I got
whichever one. I don't know which one works. It's an unbelievable ass kicking in which they didn't play perfectly. They didn't. Like they were not. Not everything went their way, and yet they're still running an NFL football team out of the gym. I am inclined to believe that some of these things are more related to the nature of Thursday Night Football, the quick turnaround, having, had to play consecutive games. You go back to the Rams game that was on a Monday night. They've played now, what, 4 games in like the shortest amount of time you could possibly play 4 games in.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe that these things are more related to that than to it being something that I'm genuinely concerned about with the Ravens moving forward. The special team stuff, they're going to have to clean up. There's no doubt. They're going to have to clean that up. And they'll be pissed about it. That giving up a punt block in the fourth quarter of an ass-kicking is not going to be the type of thing that they ignore and say, the hell with it. It was the fourth quarter. The game was over.
Especially with Harbaugh being the special teams guy.
It'll drive them nuts. It will drive them crazy. Somebody could lose a job over that. Like
that's where you send a message. Like,
correct.
hey, this can't happen.
Because
you got lazy on a game that we were up,
exactly
17.
Right. And it's your way of saying we can't do that in a playoff game. We can't do that when we play a good football team. We can get away with it in the fourth quarter of a blowout game against the Jets on a Thursday night, but if that happens when we play the Patriots, that could be the difference in our season ending before we ever get to the Super Bowl. So, sorry, you're going to lose your job over this, despite the fact that it was completely irrelevant in the context of a football game.
You know what it's almost like? It's almost like the Cyrus Jones dropping the punt in that Patriots game. Like that again, that's something that could have come back to bite him.
They were fine, obviously.
But it ultimately led to his job. Now he's watching the game on TV
because that could end up costing us in a real game. Because that could end up being the type of thing that dooms us when it comes time for a game that actually matters. So we're not going to allow that to occur. I absolutely think someone could lose a job over that. The special teams as a whole on the night were weird. You were listening on the radio to something Steve Smith said that I thought was a little interesting.
Yeah, and again, I would have never thought of it. Steve Smith was saying that, if there's one group that hasn't been on the field a lot this year, it's the special teams. And he didn't say the punt team, the punt return. He said it's just special teams in general. And it goes back to Cook not punting that much. And Steve Smith made a joke like, they've only punted 1.4 times, and it was obviously higher. But, he was like, these guys, they're young guys on special teams. They haven't been on the field that much. And lo and behold, I come and sit down, and they're getting a punt blocked for a touchdown. So, there's something there. But, again, I did think it was a great point by Steve Smith that I definitely wouldn't have thought about.
It's something that's going to drive them nuts, and they're going to have 10 days now to think about it. Look, the players can get the weekend off. That's the way this works. And the trade-off for having to play this Thursday night game is kind of no matter what. It's an unspoken agreement. You do not put the players back out on the practice field after a Thursday night game.
It's basically a mini bye.
Right, and that's the way that it's been referred to. But you could also say it's you give up your off days in the beginning of the week. The days that you would usually have to rest, you have to give those up because you got to get back on the practice field and get ready for a game. So the trade-off is they are not getting you back out there over the course of the weekend. Like you get these days off, that's the way it works. But when they get back on Monday, you know damn well, despite the fact that everything is going in the Ravens' favor at the moment, that will be something that they will have to deal with when they get on the practice field. So I'm with all of you that are upset about it or haven't enjoyed it. It's been a problem. Clearly, it's been a problem tonight. But until it lingers for a couple more games. Like if next week something similar
Another
happens,
punt gets blocked or something.
I will believe that it's more of an anomaly related to Thursday Night Football, related to a short week, related to that, and then deal with it once it becomes more of a pattern in the next week or two. All right, we'll get to some comments. We got a lot of things to talk about. I do want to talk about context for a night like tonight and a performance like what the Ravens have done. KZ special teams still stunk. LOL. Yeah, I mean it was not a great night special teams wise, but boy. That's our takeaway.
Again, this is the new Chris Moore thing. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
You're right. I think we're gonna be all right. Josh Soroka. Not only are they going to win, but they're also going to cover too. Yeah, I was nervy for a second after the punt block because it got it to 35-13, and then you had the possibility that no.
I was waiting to see when you realized.
No.
Glenn's going up against Jameson Crowder in fantasy, so.
God damn it. My season is going to be ruined by Jameson effing Crowder. I am going to be... Although I stole this with A.J. Brown a week ago. I'm only in the semifinals because I picked up A.J. Brown and stole a 33-point effort out of him.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, that's true. That's
RDT stands for Real Deal Tannehill, by the way. We're printing the shirts.
Anyway, God, I cannot believe that just happened. Son of a bitch.
At least you're still covering.
Yeah, I still have that for now. God, they better not F that up. Look, it's I don't even remember what I was talking about. Eric.
Special teams.
Whatever. Who cares?
Chris Moore.
Yeah. Oh, right. The Chris Moore bit where the guy was mad. Why is Chris Moore on the roster? And by the way, he did make a huge play in punt coverage just a week later. But why is Chris really? This is what we're doing. This is what we're mad about. Really?
If you want to nitpick, you can nitpick something. But again, it's like, all right, yeah, we'll talk about the special teams coverage.
Scott, Baltimore deserves Lamar. Okay, sure. I like Baltimore, so I'll go with that. I mean, Lamar deserves. I don't know what we did that made us earn this prosperity, but it's been a tough time to be in Baltimore for a little while. So I'm happy for our city that we
had that rough 6 months with Joe. You know,
I mean, did a lot of winning, did an awful lot of winning for a long. I'm sure there's a lot of cities that would take what the Ravens have been dealing with.
Yeah,
awful lot of cities that would be happy with that. But sure, I mean, like God bless, Lamar's amazing. 5 touchdown passes tonight. His night will be done. And, honestly, at this point, there is no more MVP debate whatsoever.
No, I was thinking that, he could legitimately go out and lay an egg next week.
Yeah,
and
it's over, right?
And he'll still get it.
It's over. From Soroka, has the new corner screens at M&T changed how the wind acts around the goalposts? Trying to figure out, or looking for reasoning. He's trying to figure out what's going on with Justin Tucker. It is weird that we saw Justin Tucker miss an extra point. Mm-hmm. I know the Jets kicker stinks, but he missed an extra point too.
It's all around the NFL this year.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. But
the Cowboys kicker who got cut.
I remember Tucker bringing something up after he missed the extra point against the Saints last year. Brought something up related to the way the wind was swirling now. I don't know if it's specific to the video screens.
They were new last year.
Right. So I remember that being a topic that came up after he missed the extra point, that kind of turned the Ravens season last year when things have been going well and they looked like they were headed to overtime against the Saints and instead ended up losing that game in regulation.
That's interesting, though.
Maybe, but you still have to, you're the kicker in that stadium. You're going to have to figure out how to be able to adjust to it. Jamie, what's your take on the narrative that the Ravens also, quote-unquote, passed on Lamar in the draft by taking Hurst ahead of him, unquote? I've talked about this before, so I don't know why this is a thing. I don't know why people get worked up about this, but this take exists in the world of, people give the Ravens credit for, everybody else really missed on Lamar, and then somebody else comes back and says, yeah, well, so did the Ravens.
Someone said 31 teams because there's that picture of him and his mom, and they said 31 teams. They said, actually, it was 32.
Right, so did the Ravens, right? First of all, one, who cares? That's my first take.
You got him.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you got him.
Who cares? It's such a minimal thing to turn into a debatable
It's a Friday
topic.
After a blowout conversation to have.
It is quite a Friday after a blowout
coming up tomorrow.
Right. But secondarily, the one thing from a more practical standpoint, I can tell you in all of the reporting that I did, there was no danger that anybody was taking him, and the Ravens were operating with that. There was no danger that another team was going to take Lamar. I have told you that I have been told by multiple NFL sources that there was belief from every team in the league that night that Lamar was going to be there in the 3rd round. That
he may have been.
This was not something where it was an inherent risk for the Ravens. It was more an inherent desire to make sure they got that 5th year on the rookie contract, and so that's why they had to grab him with the 32nd pick, and that's why the conversations with the Eagles. So it's such a meaningless sort of debate topic, but if you're engaged in it, I can tell you from like hard football reporting, there is nothing that suggests the Ravens, their intent was to get Lamar Jackson, and they had every belief that they were going to be able to do it the way that they did it. Like that was going to be the way that it was going to play out. So, again, irrelevant, but there's my take.
I definitely thought he was talking about James Hurst at first, and I was like, what? James Hurst has been in the league so... What?
No.
I was so confused.
No, it definitely was not a first-round pick. Although he wasn't awful tonight. I mean,
I didn't hear his name.
Right. Like the offensive line didn't have their best night of the season tonight, but nice to have Lamar Jackson. Paul, special teams are playing like garbage. Yeah, we've addressed. I'm just not. This is unacceptable. Sure, what happened tonight is unacceptable. I'm just not convinced that this is the story. Scott, Lamar has proven he's football genius enough to run any offense. Next year, he has to run less. We need him for years to come. So, Eric, let's talk about this. A lot of people are angry that the Ravens left Lamar on the field for a little bit longer in the fourth quarter, that he should have come out at the end of the third quarter. This is such a delicate dance, man, because this is a football game that, like, truthfully, the Anthony Levine thing, I think that ball might have bounced off of Anthony Levine, and I think that maybe should have been Jets' ball deep. Football can change so quickly. With still 15 full minutes of game to be played.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
It's an eternity. And I get it. There's nothing about tonight's game that would make you think that in any world the Jets were scoring.
Had any momentum and we're going to get,
no doubt. But it's still a long time for you to play that game. What really impressed me was the faith that they had in Lamar to say, hey, we're going to put you back out there, but it's going to be either you're handing the ball off or you're throwing the ball and not taking a hit. Like, you understand, there is no risk-taking here. There is no extending a play. There's no getting an extra yard.
Yeah, you're not getting the extra yard.
There's no trying to be a hero. There was the thing that, like, everybody was oohing and eyeing about his touchdown run against the Eagles in the preseason. And I made a point then that said, I just don't, it's the preseason.
Yeah.
What I would say to Lamar in that moment is, you're not running the ball in the middle of the field. I don't care what the situation is. You have to understand these games don't matter.
Yeah, there's bigger things.
You're not putting yourself in any position to get hurt by running the ball in the middle of the field. If it's not there, throw the ball away, move on. It's the preseason. This doesn't matter. So what impressed me is that when they did leave him back out there, it was clear he understood that. And when there wasn't something there on the throw, he ran
to the sideline,
exactly
toss it
right.
out. Yep.
That like his understanding of the circumstance, and despite being a competitor, despite being somebody that wants to force the issue and wants to make plays, understanding in that spot, hey, they're going to leave me out here because there's still a lot of time left, but the game is different now. I can't do the same things that I was doing earlier in the football game when things were more in doubt. And
when he needed to do them. Plus, also against the Greg Williams defense, who Greg Williams has been known to push the boundary a little bit.
Facts.
And, I mean, they're down by, 21? Who knows? Guys pissed off. Hey, there's Lamar.
I'm starting to get antsy about the cover. I think 5:32 remaining.
Darnold's going to throw another pick.
I hope you're right about that, but we're a touchdown away from losing the cover.
I think you're right.
In general, though, I get it. I think if your point is Lamar Jackson has proven that he's a good enough quarterback that you don't need to draw up as many designed runs. Maybe next season that'll be true, right? Maybe there's truth to that next season where you just say, we don't need to do this as much because the pass plays are really good.
Yeah.
And he's executing them incredibly well, and he's making spectacular throws, and he can run any offense we put out there. That might be true, but you're also spiting yourself a little bit in the process. He can also do this other thing really well.
That's his biggest weapon. Like, why handcuff him?
So why take it away? And I get it. The answer is because you don't want to run the risk of him getting hurt. He's so fast and he's so elusive. I just don't think that risk is as significant. I think that we have to be willing to accept that it's about the same risk between him passing and him running about him getting hurt.
I was going to say, I mean, look at the injuries to the quarterbacks this year. You had Breeze, Roethlisberger. Those are all injuries in the pocket, and like passing or pocket passing quarterbacks get hurt. It seems like almost more than these mobile quarterbacks, and it's
Correct.
like they're
correct. And by the way,
say Lamar's standing in the pocket on where he has a full lane.
The play that he got hurt on last week.
Yeah, when he took the hit, and then it's like, oh well, maybe he should have run it. It's like, no, we can't play this game every week.
I mean, like, I just enjoy it, man. That's all I can keep. Enjoy it. Stop panicking so much.
Stop worrying about the field. Like, worry about this game. I get
it. And when he first came into the league, I had these same feelings.
Because I think it's natural. Because the guy backing him up, we've seen it before.
Correct.
And it's like, oh crap, here we go again. But
it's working. I just think you have to roll with it. And unfortunately, if somebody gets hurt, somebody gets hurt. Mm-hmm. But Joe Flacco got hurt a couple times.
Exactly.
Got hurt
Flacco
again this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, other types of quarterbacks get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you cannot completely prevent injuries, but what you can do is potentially neuter your offense in the process.
That's a good. Neutering the offense is exactly what it would do. If you're like, hey, we know you're the fastest player that the NFL's seen in the last 20 years, but we're going to take this whole page out of the play.
We'd rather not do it.
We don't want you to get hurt next year.
Right, because there's some amount of risk.
Yeah.
There's some amount of risk.
Again, like, you're not going to, in 13 years when he retires, you're not going to go like, whew.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, my goodness, thank God. It's like, just enjoy it.
From Norm, special teams have been absolutely horrific tonight, and the defense has played one decent quarter total. I know everyone in town has crowned these guys, but it's been a while since they played well for 60 in all three phases. Half the team looks bored. Ho-hum. The coach has work to do to get these guys my God, what is going on? To get these guys refocused. If he doesn't, Mr. Jackson will still be looking for a win in January, albeit no fault of his own. This is the NFL, man. I know that this is the special teams thing bugs me too, right? Like the special teams needs to be better than it was tonight. This is the NFL. The other team is trying. These guys are out there on the field 4 days removed from playing in a violent car crash of a football game.
They're also playing for jobs next year. Coaches are coaching for jobs next year.
I mean, like, I just don't know what you think it's going to be. And here's what I'll disagree with you. I thought they played great against the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I thought they played one of their best games. The 49ers are unquestionably the second best team in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
They just beat the Packers and Saints, destroyed the Packers, who have double-digit wins,
and went point for point with the Saints,
and went to New Orleans and did it at 1 o'clock. I thought they played a brilliant game against the 49ers, where the 49ers found one thing that they do exceptionally well and made it competitive because they succeeded running the ball to the outside. Well, how have teams done running the ball to the perimeter since that 49ers game?
Like we talked about last week, the Bills, for a drive or two, did it, and then it's like, we're done with that.
It's mostly been a non-factor. Mm-hmm. So the 49ers just might be really effing good at that.
Yeah.
It just might be something they're unbelievably good at, and yet the Ravens still won that game.
Yeah, still found a way to pull it out.
So I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Ravens have played largely good football. I think tonight was a weird game where some weird things happened that I'm just not panicked about. Oh, thank God I am not. I was really getting nervous about that cover. I'm just not panicked about a lot of the things that I have seen from the Ravens tonight. I think they're weird. Get back to me in 2 weeks. If the special teams continues to be a disaster against the Browns next week, we're going to have a conversation then. Yeah. We're going to talk about whether or not that could be their undoing in the postseason. We'll have that conversation. But after 1 week...
And again, it's not like it happened 2 weeks ago. It's not like it happened 3 weeks ago. It's like,
that's
Justin Tucker's missed his third extra point ever, they said, this year.
I get it. It's weird. It's weird as hell. And it does leave me a little unnerved. But what happened at the end of the 49ers game when they needed somebody to make a 49-yard kick in miserable conditions to win a football game?
Someone on Twitter said that, if Tucker, they said he's something's up with him. And they said, yeah, but I'm okay because if he misses, this extra point, it doesn't really matter. He nails the big kicks when you need them.
Yeah, I'll live, man. I will live with it. And the Ravens have also shown themselves to be quite capable of getting 2 points when necessary. The Project Game Day postgame show is also brought to you by, this is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. Catch all the action at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, where they have tons of TVs to catch every moment of every game. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports. Scott, Thursday has clearly messed with the defense and special teams more than it did the offense. Fair? I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Fair. I'm assuming that's what's happening tonight. I'm assuming that it's more related to Thursday Night Football and the weird nature of it.
And again, like you mentioned, their schedule in general. They played, the West Coast game, flew back. They had that weird week. They've played a lot of football recently.
And
it's okay for them to be tired.
And in a lot of different places. In a short amount of time. And a lot of different weather. And you get used to playing in the crazy rain. And then you got to go play a game in the blowing winds. Then you get used to that and you got to come back. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
They've won every single game,
but it's also every Thursday night game is every defense on Thursday night seems a step slow, or they're not quite up to the offenses up to par with them, and it's that's what happens. Again, they played in a car accident 4 days ago.
By the way, Scott, I do agree with you, to what we were talking about with Lamar. I might not play Lamar in the preseason next year. I'd be fine with that.
Well, did Mahomes?
A lot of those guys just don't play in the preseason.
And I think that's going to be something bigger going on.
No, but what I was impressed by tonight, and what's a good, if you can explain to your quarterback, this is what Tom Brady's great at, right? If you can explain to your quarterback, this is not the same as game time. Understand what this is. Understand if it's not there, you toss the ball in the dirt. That's it.
And it's also like people made fun of Peyton for years for his little get-down sacks when he would sack himself.
The smartest thing in the world.
All right, and when was the last time you saw Peyton Manning get his clock clean?
Tom Brady throws the ball on the ground.
Yeah, and again, people make fun of him. Like, oh, look at that. Look how funny that was.
How many times has Tom Brady been significantly hurt?
How many times has he been looking out of his ear hole, like, like Flacco did when Flacco was playing, not that could have been prevented, but...
Right, so honestly, I'm kind of... It's a weird thing to take away from this game, but like I was genuinely impressed by how Lamar handled himself in the point of the game where a lot of people didn't want him in anymore, and he said, look, I'll be in there.
I know what to do. I know how
I can handle this. I'm not going to do anything dumb. I'm not going to take off and go try to score a touchdown, and show everybody how otherworldly I am. If it's there, I'll throw the ball. You missed the one throw to Mark Andrews that should have been there, right? If it's there, I'll throw it. If it's not, we'll move on.
Especially because his instincts, his number one instincts are, I'm gonna run right by that guy. And it's now, that's a big mental thing where you see him go, I could probably, sprint past this guy, juke and spin, and maybe get down to the 5, but I'll just throw it away and play it safe. Like, I agree with you there.
Calvin says it's time for you to get a Ravens hat.
That ain't happening.
Jamie, Ravens just hit the Belichick intentional penalties on 4th down to keep the clock running. LOL. Hey man,
was that something that Harbaugh complained about at first too?
Probably.
He loves doing that. Right? He loves doing that.
You're not wrong. Josh, comments today are proof that Ravens fans do not know how to cheer for a great team. I mean, look, I don't know that it's unique to Ravens fans. I think that it's like this with everybody. I think there are the Patriots fans find things to complain about, right? Like most fans in general do not handle anything well. They don't handle prosperity well. They don't handle adversity well. They don't handle anything well. Like keeping things in context is not normally something that goes hand in hand with being a sports fan. So yes, we react the way that we react, but at the same time,
like I said, that guy was complaining about Chris Moore after the Ravens hung like a 50 burger on the Rams on national TV. Hey, why is Chris Moore on this team?
Why is Chris Moore on the roster?
That's all I could think about. Like, Lamar Jackson's dancing in the end zone, and he's like,
celebrating
Chris Moore.
An amazing win.
He woke up in a cold sweat that night.
Freaked out about Chris Moore. No doubt about it. So, yeah, I don't think it's unique to Ravens fans. I get it. We're not. You're right, Josh. They're not handling prosperity well, but I don't think it's unique to Ravens fans. All right, the cover is safe, thank God. Ravens win 42-21. They are indeed AFC North champions. They have improved to 12-2. One more win, and they will be the number 1 seed in the AFC. And so those are all the good things. We need a short break, and we come back in. I want to ask you this question, Eric, because I think what we need to do over the course of the things that were problematic, or the things the Ravens did tonight, in the context of can you win in the playoffs doing this? I want to talk about in that context, right? Like have that conversation when we come back in. He's Eric Arditti. I'm Glenn Clark. It's the Project Game Day post-game show from the Live Casino Hotel studio. I literally need just 2 minutes and be right back with you.
Hey, this is Stan the Fan. You know we're all hoping for a special season out of our football team. When it comes to dining out casually and affordably, I know a place is special every season. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Not only are they known all over for their great steamed crabs and crab cakes, they have a couple specials you want to keep in mind. Monday night is crab cake night. Tuesday night is ribs night. Wednesday night is steak night, partnered with half-priced bottles of your favorite wines. And Thursday night is lobster night. So check out the Costas Inn this football season, and you may come back whatever the season. That's the Costas Inn, 4100 North Point Boulevard, 410-477-1975.
Need groceries today but don't have time to shop? Order online with same-day pickup or delivery at Wise Markets. Wise to go online. Now that's convenient.
This is Stan the Fan for Glen Burnie Transmissions, located right in the heart of Glen Burnie for almost 60 years. If you suspect you're having a transmission problem, GBT can save you hundreds of dollars over taking it to the dealers for a repair. Make an appointment for a free diagnostic and estimate. Call GBT at 855-728-1841. Their mission is simple: to provide excellent service at a reasonable price. Go to their website at gbt-online.com to check out all of the 5-star reviews. Let my friend Mark Schwartzman and his GBT team take the troubles out of transmission trouble. Call them today at 855-728-1841.
Respect. It's more than a word. In the U.S. Army, it is one of our core values, earned through selfless service to our nation and making a difference both at home and abroad. On the Army team, respect is earned daily. And now, in addition to earning respect, you may earn up to $40,000 in bonuses if you qualify. To learn more, visit goarmy.com/bonus or call 1-800-USA-ARMY, paid for by the U.S. Army.
Catch all of the action at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, where we have tons of TVs to catch every moment of every game. Enjoy $6.99 burgers on Mondays, $5.99 nachos on Thursdays, and drink specials throughout the season to help you cheer on your favorite teams. Come in today and try something new from our seasonal menu. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports. All right, we continue on the Project Game Day postgame show after the Ravens pick up their 10th straight win, defeating the Jets 42-21. Glenn Clark, Eric Arditti in the Live Casino Hotel studio. Eric, so the question is, right, because I'm just not worked up about anything that I saw, and I said all of it rolls off of me. There were some goofy things that happened that aren't okay. I think the reasonable way to ask this question is, can you do some of these things in the playoffs against a good football team and still win that game?
I think so. I mean, Lamar threw the ball 23 times tonight. Like we know what their bread and butter is, and it's running the football. We've literally seen Joe Flacco. What did he go 4 for 10? And they won a playoff game?
That did happen, yes. And the Ray Rice,
that 80, and again,
yard touchdown.
If there's an offense that can break an 80-something yard run on the first play, it's going to be this one. I think they can definitely do that. Again,
that was the weird part is a lot of it had to do with the opponent tonight. So at halftime when people were freaking out about, I'm like, guys,
it's the Jets.
I don't have even. I honestly, God, even if they had scored a touchdown at the end of the half when they threw the interception,
it was 21. It would have been 21-14 going in half.
I still wouldn't have had any. This team is not up for this. Mm-mm. I'm not saying the Ravens can't lose a game. They could. But it's got to be a team that's up for it. Mm-hmm. It's got to be a team that comes out of the chute ready to go for what they're up against that day, that goes and scores, that makes an emphatic statement themselves.
Like, we're here. We're not backing down.
Correct. That puts the Ravens behind the 8 ball to where they're in a place where they're not comfortable.
It was like the Chiefs game, where the Chiefs came out and they, I can't remember who scored first, but the Chiefs came out and, hey, we're going for 2.
Right.
We're going to go for it on 4th down. Right. We're going to, and that's, no one has done that since.
And my feeling would be the Chiefs are I keep coming back to the Chiefs, the team that you concern yourself with, is if anyone is capable of doing it, they're the team that's capable of doing it. And everybody was saying, yeah, but their defense isn't that good. I just don't think defense is going to be the story. I don't think there's a defense that's beating the Ravens. I don't think it's happening. I think that a couple good defenses in recent weeks had done a better job.
Slow them down.
Right. But slowing them down has to be matched by your ability to say, okay, if we can hold them to 30, can we go battle with them? Can we go get 30 points against a defense that mostly is playing really well?
Yeah.
Obviously, there was no pass rush in the first half tonight. That was a problem. They got some pass rush in the second half, and that changed things. But that ends up being the story, is do you have an offense that can get the job done if your defense battles, which is the most you can possibly ask for against this Ravens team right now. The 49ers showed they might be able to. Maybe. They really battled. They gave themselves a chance.
They even showed it more the next week, again, in New Orleans.
I mean, you come away even more impressed by their offense, no doubt. The Chiefs, possibly.
The Chiefs, I think so too. I think they,
And that might not be a game where they battle and they hold the Ravens to 30. That might just be a game where they say, if we got to go win this game 45-42.
Oh yeah, they'll. I'm sure they would have no problem winning 51-50.
Right, we'll go win a game that way if that's the way that we got to.
Andy Reid is drooling at the thought of that probably.
From Jamie, we were talking about the 4th down penalty thing. Harbaugh didn't complain, but Belichick said post-game when they did it that it's something the league will probably look at.
Yeah, that was his little, we found a loophole.
Calvin Glenn, no one is coming to Baltimore and beating the Ravens in the playoffs. It's going to be really hard. I mean, there's no doubt. It's going to be extraordinarily difficult for any team to beat the Ravens, particularly having to come to Baltimore in order to do it. Now, what happens if there's a snowstorm? What happens if something completely unforeseen screws with, your belief in what the Ravens are capable of doing? I absolutely don't doubt that that Bill Belichick will have the Patriots better prepared for the Ravens the second time they play the Ravens than they were the first. I still just don't think the Patriots are good enough.
I don't. It wouldn't surprise me again. Yeah, if they come in better prepared, but talent-wise, I don't think they're even in the same hemisphere.
I just don't see it. The Chiefs are the one team that you look at and say, on an even money circumstance, on a field,
neutral field, 72 degrees,
correct,
in a dome.
I think that's a battle. I think that's a real battle, and I would give them a chance. I would give them a chance. And in the weird world, I think we all sit back and say most of us would probably rather see the Bills and the Steelers in the playoffs than the Titans at the moment, because
not a big deal.
They're a team that looks like they might be up. Again, maybe we're getting a little carried away.
They have the hot hand.
And offensively, they look like they might be up for the task of going and scoring points. And that's the story right now to me of how you're going to beat the Ravens. Is your offense has to be able to say, the hell with whatever defense is on the field, we're going to go score points. Because we know you're going to go score your points.
And you'd think that, the Texans, because they're always that kind of they have Deshaun Watson and Hopkins, but they're
wildly too inconsistent.
And their running game is meh, and it's last year I could have said, I could see Hopkins and Watson doing that, but this year it's again, they're inconsistent, they haven't showed it. So
Scott, very happy now. Let's go have an adult beverage. Cool. I like that.
I don't hate that.
Paul, it's crazy that Joe Flacco never had the team record for the most touchdown passes for one season. Lamar tied the record tonight with 33, and that was Vinny Testaverde's. Yes, I did see that. I mean, it's not crazy to me because the Ravens, their mentality during the Joe Flacco era was to be a certain type of team, which we can revisit this all in all. Once they decided to give him a boatload of money, maybe they should have started thinking about changing what their mentality was and trying to play to the quarterback that they just paid $1 billion to, but they never did. They continued to want to be defense and run the ball and never get any wide receivers, never get any tight ends, never change your offensive mentality at all, and insanely, throw a guy with a huge cannon of an arm, West Coast offense,
just have him check down,
and throw it underneath 100 times a game to neutralize the one unquestionable strength the dude had. So it's not weird to me that Joe Flacco, I guess just based on time, opportunity, that.
Yeah, you'd think in his 9 years.
You're here for a decade. That at some point during that time span, you just have one goofy year where you threw out a boatload of touchdowns.
Yeah.
But we all saw it. I mean, we all saw what the Ravens were doing, so it's not all that surprising to me.
Yeah, it's not.
And obviously, the difference in what Lamar's doing and what Vinny Testaverde did is the Ravens were terrible when Vinny Testaverde.
I was going to say I would love to go back and look at Testaverde's numbers from that year.
I mean, he had an amazing year. I mean, he was incredible, but it was because they were down by 20 points
exactly.
at halftime, and they had to throw the ball.
Playing against prevent defenses.
Correct.
Sure.
Not teams that were maybe going after it quite the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he had a great year in 1996. He had an excellent season. It's just that it was in a completely different, right, in a completely different context.
I'm looking this up.
Than what the Ravens are doing at this point. All right. So this is where we are. The Ravens will enjoy the benefit of 10 days off. They need one more win in order to lock up the number 1 seed. I was trying to do the math on that. If the Patriots were to lose this weekend
to the Bengals, right? Yeah,
it just seems so unlikely.
I think it's so unlikely. Everyone's already just throwing that out.
Right?
No, it's not gonna.
But I guess the question then becomes: can the Bills get back into the race for the number 1 seed? There's too much math that I have to do. I was told there would be no math. I guess the Bills could.
There are no ties.
No, the Ravens have the tiebreaker over both. So I guess yes, if the Patriots were to, the Chiefs only have 4 losses, correct? And if the Chiefs...
I don't know. I think so.
I think that's right. And if the Chiefs end up tied with the Ravens, they have the tiebreaker. So I do still think the Ravens have to win one more game. I still think that's on no matter what this
I think
week.
it's just...
either maybe the Patriots and the Chiefs would both have to lose.
Okay.
And then the Ravens could lock up the number 1 seed. It's not.
I think it's more like
they got to go beat the Browns.
You'll hear Harbaugh say, "No, we're going to take care of business next Sunday."
No doubt about that.
It wouldn't even surprise me if he doesn't watch the games
and
on
the
Sunday.
good news is you assume they get Ronnie Stanley back too, on top of everything else.
Again, we didn't hear Hurst's name.
They survived. They survived the week without James Hurst. They're clearly better with Ronnie Stanley on the field.
And again, it was maybe that one is they played the Jets and not the Bills or the Patriots. Someone with the defense that can actually hurt you.
Calvin, you guys think the Ravens should get gold helmets? I'd like to see an all-gold uniform. I will pass.
That's something, again, you entertain on a Friday after a blowout.
You want to talk about the bird? You want to talk about the goofy Nick
Can we talk about the bird? How much time do we have?
What the hell was that?
I don't know, but I need to speak to someone immediately.
The hell was that?
Well, if we can do that with a bird, what can't we do?
I mean, I'm with you, right? Like, we could have Godzilla, I guess. Like, if we really want to
tell me with a good time.
Can
I buy that for my house?
I'm not saying it doesn't look cool. It looks cool.
Well, that's like basically hologram Tupac.
Right. By the way, hologram Tupac was amazing.
Bring it out.
Do you remember how panicked the entire country was when we saw
wish
hologram
Twitter
Tupac?
was what it is now.
Right.
For that.
It
like
was
the memes and everything.
The most incredible. We were starting, but remember we were doing the bit where we were like, now everybody's got to be hologram.
Oh, I can't wait for the
We're doing world
the
tours.
Tupac and Biggie.
We're gonna go
rap
spend our money to watch hologram Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah, you're like, I get to see all the Beatles on the Titanic with Biggie and Tupac.
It was cool. Like it was. I just don't know that it makes me. Here's what I would say. I think the point of doing it is like this is why you have to be at the game, right? I just don't know that would be the thing that makes me say I have to go buy a ticket. As much as me saying, hey, it looks cool on social media.
Do you have anyone from the Ravens on tomorrow? I was gonna say like Monday,
Monday
when you have Bradley Bozeman on. Ask him. Be like, hey, did you look up during the timeout?
I don't even know if they did. They do. I thought they did it before the game.
No. I think
it was in the game.
I thought so. I don't know. I thought by the time they posted it on social media, I thought that it was.
I thought it was before the game. All right. Well, I'll ask.
I gotta dig in.
I'm glad you brought up Bradley Bozeman because Monday night we're going to be at Chick-fil-A Nottingham Square with Bradley Bozeman of your Baltimore Ravens, who's been having a great year. Got some TV time. Had the helmet off on the sideline.
Did you ask him if he touched? If he kept the ball?
We had talked about that. He didn't keep the ball. But it was really funny though because he was genuinely panicked when the ball bounced off his leg last week. He was freaking out because he had done the right thing and then the ball bounces off his leg and he was like about to piss himself.
Popped back up.
Right, correct. But Bradley's going to be there on Monday night at Chick-fil-A Nottingham Square. We are collecting coats for the Helping Up mission. Coats, jackets, gloves, hats, the whole deal. Somebody asked me, people are still confused. Go to your closet. You don't have to go buying
You're not
new
buying
coats.
a new North Face.
If you do, that's a wonderful thing for you to do. Mm-hmm. But go to your closet and get the ones that you're not wearing anymore. Just don't get the crap. Don't get the ones that have fallen apart, that are ratty, that nobody...
Zipper doesn't work.
Exactly right. Get the ones that somebody else that has nothing
can get some use out of.
Exactly right. Go grab those. Anything to help keep people warm. Bring them to 5198 Camp Boulevard in the Nottingham Square Shopping Center. That's the White Marsh area. I just don't say White Marsh because it's confusing. Don't go to the mall. It's the one outside of the mall over in the Nottingham Square Shopping Center on the other side of 95. All right? Go to that one on Monday night from 6 to 8. Bradley Bozeman will be there. He wants to meet you if you come out and make a donation. We'll have some giveaways. And we have another special guest who's joining us on Monday night in conjunction with the announcement of our local sports person of the year with Pressbox and our Best of Baltimore Sports issue, which comes out on Tuesday. And I'm really excited about that. So I really want to see everybody come out on Monday night and get your donations for the Helping Up mission. That's what it's all about. Eric, you're on Twitter.
Yep.
At
EDITTI22.
All right.
And sparking conversation about the life-size Raven.
I mean...
If you got an answer, you hit me with it.
I'm with you, and it's as relevant as anything football-wise. And then barstoolsports.com is, of course, where people find you. Mm-hmm. I think Rita's back for the last 2 weeks of the regular season. I don't know what the plans yet are for the postseason. I imagine we're doing shows. I just don't know any of the details, so once I have them, I will pass them along to everybody.
Let me know.
Appreciate y'all joining us for Project Game Day. Thanks to Glory Days Grill. Thanks to Wise Markets for making it happen. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 to noon for Glenn Clark Radio. This has been the Project Game Day postgame show from the Live Casino Hotel studio after another Ravens win.